Hi, I'm Yvonne Cuter, and this is Cuter Inky Chicks Online. Here's a happy shout out to my subscribers and regular viewers. Thanks for tuning in today. And a hearty hello to those new to my channel. I hope you enjoy today's video. We're going to start by, first you can tell right away that I'm a big fan of the 2022 to 2024 Stampin' Up in Color collection, which includes Starry Sky, Tahitian Tide, Parakeet Party, Orchid Oasis, and Sweet Sorbet. In fact, when I was getting ready to do my SheetLoad of Cards for February 2023, I thought about all the elements here and decided that these 5 colors would be the perfect way to make these cards. And I will tell you a little bit about the SheetLoad of Cards. If you go to Call Me Crafty Al, you can find this on the first of every month. Alicia gives everyone a new template, and it has a full-size picture of the card you're going to be making. It tells you what kinds of products and supplies you'll need, how many cards you're going to be making. This month we made 12, and it tells you the dimensions for each of the pieces, just in case you only want to make one card. She tells you different ways that you can put these together, and she gives you some contact information for her on other channels, other media. And on the second page, Alicia has gone to all the trouble for us of figuring out how to cut the paper, the pattern paper, the cardstock, any sentiment pieces that you may need. She shows you all that. And if you're going to share on social media, she gives you some hashtags right here, which I will put on my video today. So when I started looking at this, I decided that I wanted to use these in-color products, and in a way, it kind of stretched my imagination because Alicia's instructions call for 2 sheets of 12 by 12 pattern paper. But as you can see here, the products that I chose to use only come in the 6 by 6 size. But then I discovered that she had some similarities here, and if I was very clever, I could break this down and use 4 pieces of 6 by 6 instead of 2 pieces of 12 by 12. And that's what I proceeded to do. I have the cardstock here. I have the in-color designer series papers, which you will get 4 patterns of each color, which is very convenient when you're making a whole set of cards. And in addition to that, I remembered that if you bought the Tea Boutique, which is another set of designer series paper in the annual catalog, you got all kinds of really fun papers that have teacups and flowers and teapots, little envelopes with flowers in them, all sorts of options for using more of the in colors for 2022 to 2024. So now you know a little bit about my thought process, how I kind of reverse engineered this project so that I could use 6 by 6 papers instead of 12 by 12. What I did next, I'll just kind of walk you through this real quickly. I cut out the pieces. Here I just have the pieces for one card. I thought I would reproduce that for you today since I already sent a couple of these out to friends for birthdays. So I started with the in-color cardstock bases, and I made 3 of each color that you see here, but I saved the Starry Sky for the matte pieces. And the first thing I did was, for today I made you a Parakeet Party card base, and then I have these Parakeet Party Designer Series papers. And today I'm going to save myself the grief of putting the glue on the wrong side, and I'm going to flip all of these papers over right away. So I'm putting my multi-purpose liquid glue on the correct part of designer paper. And here is the mat that you're going to use. You can go to Alicia's channel, sign up as a subscriber. It's a free channel. She does have some other options for channel members if you wanted to pay a monthly fee. But if you just want to go and watch her videos and get the free template every month, you can do that. That's what I do. I love her channel. She's always doing something new and exciting, and is very inspiring to people like me who've been making cards for quite a while. In fact, I've been a demonstrator now for almost 18 years. So I have, as you can imagine, quite a large stash of crafting goodies that I can dip into. And that's why I like to call these videos Shop Your Stash, because you don't have to buy anything when you get Alicia's template. All you do is go to your craft area, pick out the patterns and colors that appeal to you, that you think are going to be terrific on your card this month, and go to town. Now, if you're like me, you might put a little bit too much liquid glue on here, so I always like to give it just a few minutes to kind of solidify before I start putting these pieces onto the mat. And this one is a little different because instead of having the mat show all the way around all the pieces, Alicia did something a little bit different this time and just had it showing on the sides and in between the pieces of designer paper. I find it easier if I'm trying to line up these pieces to go to the edges on each end rather than work my way all the way down. I like to work my way from the bottom and from the top. And I think you might find this an easier way to do things too. Why don't you give it a try? You can leave me a comment below and let me know how that works for you. Also, in the description below this video, you'll find a complete list of all the supplies I'm using today, along with product numbers. If you're interested in purchasing any of these products, just give me a shout out. Here we have the focal point, and I'm going to glue that to this little mat. As you can see, this is a very easy card to put together. Now, to get to the sentiment piece this month, I had to remember I don't have the die to cut the 4-inch circle that Alicia decided was a good thing for our sentiment this month. So what I did was, some of you may know already, but my husband, who doesn't usually get into hobbies very much, decided last Christmas that, it was right after Christmas actually, that he needed a Cricut Joy machine, which is an electronic cutting machine. It's only got a cutting area that goes through the machine of about 5 inches, but that was enough to design and cut 3 4-inch circles and then cut them into quarters. I learned a lot about the Cricut machine while I was doing that. So what I did was I decided that I wanted to use the Starry Sky ink to go with the Starry Sky mats and offset the colors of the other 4 in color products. So I pulled out one of my favorite stamp sets, and it's called Biggest Wish. And this you can do a shadow stamp. You can say happy birthday in dark ink and then have birthday behind it. Stamp them together to say happy birthday. But one of my favorite stamps in this whole set is this little hello. So I chose that, and I stamped my little quarter circle with hello using the Starry Sky ink. Well, I got ready to put it on my focal point, and I thought to myself, this part here looks a little blank, a little empty, and it was kind of bothering me. So then I thought, okay, I'll look at my stamp sets and see what I have in terms of maybe a leaf in here or a small flower. But then I got to thinking about it, and I said, you know, there's a lot of leaves and flowers already in the designer paper. And then I remembered one of my favorite stamps in this Friendly Gnomes set is Squee, this little bird right here. He is so darn cute. And I thought, well, you know what? I've got all the different in-color inks. Why don't I just get out that bird, and I'll make him just sit on that word by stamping him in a coordinating color. Hold on just one second. Here is my Parakeet Party ink and my little bird. Now, if you have some of these photopolymer stamps, perhaps you're unaware that the best way to get these onto your clear block is to put them face down on a surface and then put your block on top of them. And then you get your stamp on the block without any wrinkles or anything like that. So then you ink up your stamp by tapping it on the ink pad. And the nice thing about these clear blocks and clear stamps is you can see right where you want to put your image, and you just press down. I always hold it on there just a few seconds so the ink can make its way into the paper. And check that out. I really, really like that little bird sitting on that hello. Let me just close up my ink real quick, and then we'll finish assembling this card. Now, you could certainly use dimensionals here if you'd like. I try to keep my dimensionals to a minimum so that when my card is going through the mail, it doesn't have to have extra postage. I am going to put a few dimensionals on here, but I'm going to save them for the entire focal point. So I just put a little line of multi-purpose liquid glue on this quarter circle. And again, let that dry for a while, just to prove to you that I am not adverse to Stampin' Dimensionals. I'll get those out so you can see they're on the horizon. Now that this has dried just a little bit, I'll put it right here. Before I do that, let me think. I wanted to show you that in this instance, for all the other colors of cards that I made in February, I followed Alicia's template where she put this quarter circle in the bottom right corner. But for the Parakeet Party, I found that the designer paper only had these Parakeet Party cups in a place where it would be kind of awkward if I put this quarter circle on the right side. So Alicia's always telling her viewers that her template is just a jumping off point for your creativity. And that has been a godsend to me. She's taught me so much over the last couple of years about how I like my things to be done. And I like to have the freedom to say, oh, well, maybe I'll put it up here, or maybe I'll put it over here. In this case, I just put it over here on the left so you could see those cups that match. And then I'll grab a few dimensionals. These are Stampin' dimensionals. And as long as you don't get too carried away with these, they will go through the mail without too much problem. And by problem, I mean extra postage. We had a big discussion about that in one of my craft clubs just last Sunday about how to make sure that you assemble your cards in such a way that you don't leave the recipient with a bill when they get your card. We all agreed that that would not be a good thing. So, and then, you know, there's so many nice people in the world. I'm sure a lot of people, if they have gotten a card from someone and it had postage due, they wouldn't even tell the people that they had to pay the postage to get their card. All right, take a little bit of Stampin' Seal here, put this piece on the card base. Oops. Stampin' Seal is a wonderful adhesive, very strong, very nice. And at first I wasn't a big fan of it, but then I learned that you have to hold it in a certain way. You have to hold it at like a 45-degree angle. I don't know if you can see that here. You don't hold it straight up or very close to the paper like that. You hold it at about 45 degrees and then the adhesive comes right onto your cardstock. All right, I don't think that it matters which way is up on this card. So we're just going to line up the top so that the Starry Sky piece is evenly distributed on the Parakeet Party card base. Oh, looks like I made my Starry Sky piece just a little bit too big. Luckily, I have my paper snips right here. This isn't the first time I've done this, and it probably won't be the last. Accuracy isn't as important as you might think when you're making a handmade card, because my grandson used to tell me when he was just 5 years old and he would be quilting with me or making cards with me, and I'd say, oh no, I made a mistake, and he'd say, don't worry, that's how people know you made it by hand. So whenever I think about getting a little OCD and want to make sure everything is perfect, I remember my grandson telling me that. Okay, we're almost finished. Thank you for hanging in there with me. Just one or two more fun things to do. I'm just going to line this up a little bit, put it on there, and then the most wonderful, cool thing is we're going to get out these 2022 to 2024 in color matte decorative dots. And I always like when I keep my embellishments in their little containers so they don't dry out, I always get my labeler out and put the colors that are the embellishments colors on the label so that I know at a glance what coordinates with the project I'm working on. And as you can see, this is a very well-loved set of embellishments, and I will show you my cards in just a moment, but here's what I'm most interested in today. That's the Parakeet Party dots down here, and I thought it would be kind of fun, since we like to do things in sets of 3, to just pick up one of these dots. This time I chose the larger one. Set that on there. Looks like I need to put a new tip on my Take Your Pick tool, which I don't know if I could live without this. I'm pretty sure I use this tool every time I make a card, because I've tried all kinds of different things for getting embellishments onto my projects, and this little tip here, this little sticky tip, is the best thing for holding on to those, especially if you have fingers that don't work quite well. All right, so there you go. We finished up our Parakeet Party card for the February 2023 SheetLoad of Cards. Now, if you'll just bear with me one last moment here, I will show you all the other cards that I've made for this sheet load. Because when you make a sheet load, you make a whole batch of cards. And then you have a bunch of them that you can give away to friends. You can get little card boxes in the catalog if you want to try that. Or you can have a little stash of birthday cards. I deliberately left these that just saying hello. So when the time came, if I wanted to put happy anniversary in here, or thinking of you, or happy birthday, all I have to do is grab a stamp and a coordinating ink color. And here you'll see the sweet sorbet. And there you go. A whole sheet load of cards for February 2023. I want to thank you for joining me today. A reminder that the details for all the products discussed today, as well as my contact information, can be found in the description box below. Please contact me or leave me a comment if you have any questions, or if you'd like to place an order. That would be cool. Thank you for watching, and I will see you again soon. Happy crafting.